So, all the way back in November, we talked about Joker Killer Smile, Jeff Lemire's 3-part Black Label series, and because there's no new comic books this week, we actually get to go back and finish talking about it. So, without further ado, let's hop on into issue 2 and issue 3 of this mind-bending psychological horror series and find out what happens next, shall we? So, as we join issue 2, we check on back in with Dr. Ben. He was the Joker's brand new psychiatrist at Arkham Asylum, a man desperate to try and make a name for himself by cracking the uncrackable nut that is the Joker. The hope being that if he could cure the Clown Prince's insanity, there's no telling what else the Doctor could cure too. As we quickly discover, though, perhaps the reason Dr. Ben is so interested is that he too seems to be afflicted with some sort of madness, flickering back and forth between what he calls one of two worlds, the real mundane world that you and I live in, and a special world reserved for only very special people, the world of madness, here illustrated by an Arkham Asylum that isn't a hospital, but instead a roadside diner. Gotta admit, I kinda like it. If they had an Arkham-themed diner, I'd eat there. It's in this world of madness the Joker reigns supreme. He taunts the Doctor and then dines on what looks to be his own head covered in clown makeup. Yep, just one of many disturbing scenes that this book is filled with. As you might have guessed, these hellish breaks from reality are really starting to take a toll on Dr. Ben's family. He lashes out at his poor son Simon and tells him never to go into the basement where his office is. And I mean really, when someone tells you not to go into their creepy secret basement, you should probably not go into their creepy secret basement. Nothing good's in the creepy secret basement. More motivated now than ever, Dr. Ben throws himself completely into his work trying to unravel the mystery that is the Joker. Granted, this is hard to do because, well, he can't even agree on what the Joker's true origin story is. He keeps changing it. Dr. Ben even tries a new tactic to try and get the Joker to open up by mentioning his relationship with Batman, and for a second it seems like it might work, but the Joker turns the tables on him. You see, somehow, someway, the Joker knows the name of Ben's wife and son, even though he would have no way of knowing that. This revelation causes Ben to freak the hell out and try and break down the Joker's glass prison. This is interesting too because up until this point we've been seeing a lot of symmetry with the art. Ben and the Joker always being drawn right down the middle, taking up equal amounts of page space. I thought that was pretty interesting and also pretty telling for what we're going to see later. His boss reams him out for the incident. After all, she didn't want Ben working with the Joker anyway, and his clock is ticking. He only had 3 weeks to make a breakthrough, and if not, he'd have to be moved on to other patients. Naturally, this puts even more stress on Dr. Ben at home, and it seems like his family might really be slipping through his fingers. Because of that, he leaves in the dead of the night, freaking out both his wife and son to finally try and get some answers from the Joker. And oh, he gets his answers all right, but they are not what he wanted. The Joker says, yeah, Ben, of course I know the name of your wife and son. You told them to me. You told them to me months ago, right after they left you. For you see, Dr. Ben hasn't been working with the Joker for the last 3 weeks. He's been working with him for the last 3 years. And everything we've seen of Dr. Ben's home life in this series so far has actually been his own delusional mind, including the Mr. Smiles children's book that kicked all of this off. This also quite interestingly means that Dr. Ben's life at Arkham was not actually the world of madness as he believed. That was real. It was everything that happened to him at home that was fake and crazy. And I'm sure you've heard this one before: when there's nowhere else to run, where there's nowhere safe to hide, you can always hide insanity. As Dr. Ben, having a full and complete breakdown now, figures there's nothing else to do but to paint his own clown face and go break the Joker out of jail. Which he absolutely does in the beginning of issue 3. What's his weapon of choice? Well, a crowbar, of course. What else would it be? At first, the Joker plays apologetic, saying that he didn't do any of this to Dr. Ben, that the world broke him. That his family didn't see or didn't care how much he was hurting, and that the Joker took it upon himself to help rebuild this man from the ground up in his image, and together they can get revenge on the world that hurt them. Why, the Joker even called in a bunch of favors from the outside and now has the address of where Dr. Ben's wife and son are staying, and that together they can go visit them. Of course, to do that, they're going to have to escape the asylum, and to do that, they've decided to let a bunch of the other inmates out of their cages. Why, just to really really rub some salt in the wound about Ben's descent into madness, he even shoots a security guard who was shown to be his friend earlier on in the book. Now, before the Joker can leave, though, he wants to pick up his purple suit and effects. It's here, too, we get a little bit more of that whole storybook framing device that's been throughout the series. Obviously, everyone in Arkham Asylum had a character that represented them within the book. Joker was Mr. Smiles, Ben was the sad doctor, and here we find out who Batman is. Well, he's a character called Mr. Pouts, fittingly enough. Joker sends Dr. Ben away so he can have his final showdown with Batman, and it's here that the true depths of the Joker's plan is ultimately revealed. Turning Ben crazy, yeah, that was really just part of a bigger escape plot for the Joker, as he gives Batman an impossible Sophie's choice: either stop the Joker now before he can escape, or stop Dr. Ben from killing his family. Batman hates being put in such a situation, as such decides to break a couple of the Joker's teeth before he goes, giving him a real killer smile if you ask me. It's dark and rainy when Dr. Ben eventually finds out where his family has been living. He breaks on in with a gun drawn and is almost about to shoot his wife before his son Simon comes out to stop him. What exactly does stop him? Well, Dr. Ben looks into his kid's eyes and sees him too covered in clown face paint. The idea I think they're trying to get across here that the same sort of madness that the Joker passed on to Dr. Ben could easily be passed on to his son too if he actually ends up going through with what he plans to do here. And in the end, Dr. Ben ultimately proves to be stronger than his disease. He overcomes what the Joker did to him long enough for Batman to actually take him back to Arkham. And yeah, it all ultimately ends up being a pretty bittersweet ending. Dr. Ben is in the Joker's old cell, complete with a band-aid on his nose just like the one the Joker was wearing, and now the tables have been turned as his old supervisor is now his doctor. Though he does laugh like a normal human being at a normal joke, so there is a chance that maybe he will be able to get out of here one day. And what became of the Joker? Well, he actually went on to carry out his balloon attack plot from the first issue. And it's on that note there the comic comes to a close, and so that was Joker Killer Smile issue number 2 and number 3, and I'm glad I got to go back and finish off this series. It was interesting and compelling. It's got a real kinda Shutter Island psychological horror vibe to it that you don't normally get in stories like this. I've also always really resonated with this idea that the Joker is so crazy that it's actually infectious to the people around him, and that he's kind of a black hole of insanity affecting other people and maybe waking up latent madness and other people. The book is also kind of subtle and reserved too when it comes to talking about Dr. Ben and his issues. They never do actually come out and say whether or not what happened to him is because the Joker did it or because he was always sick. It's super fun too getting to see Sorrentino draw all these different big Batman Joker type scenes. I hope he gets to draw the characters more in the future, and in fact I know he will, because this series is actually getting a sequel, Batman Smile Killer. Overall, I'd give this one an 8.5 out of 10. This is definitely some of the better stuff out of the pages of DC Black Label, and maybe now that I have time to go back and reevaluate them all, maybe I'll read some more. Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cape Joel again. Just wanted to take a moment to thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, and if you're in the market for comic books right now, and I mean really who isn't, you might want to check out my book depository link down in the description. It's no joke my favorite place to buy comic book trades. You get a great price, and if you use my link, not only will you be getting yourself something nice, but you'll be helping out the channel a little bit while you do so. So, you win, I win, everybody wins, right? And until next time everyone, this has been Cape Joel. Bye-bye.